son? It's me, your host, the Mighty Blue Magus, and although I am usually blue, I'm sporting the red today because you know what time it is. Got the Fatal Fury hat on. It is time that we talk about something awesome, especially after I closed out last year by being mentally scarred. Terribly. I'm broke from therapy now. Anyway, what we're going to be doing now is talking about one of my favorite things of all time, Fatal Fury. Ladies and gentlemen, I have sung the praises of the glorious Fatal Fury OVAs for years, and I think it's time that I came out and finally gave my full opinion of them. If you're unsure what Fatal Fury is, well, I recommend going and watching my reviews for the original trilogy.
Hey, dummy! There were 4 games! Why are you calling it a trilogy?
Because Special's an update, not a full-on sequel. Want to fight about it?
Yeah, well maybe I do!
Oh, is that so? Well, get a load of this. Knuckle! Rising tackle! Crash it! Now, what did we learn? Beating up internet smarks aside, Fatal Fury is a video game franchise created by the video game company SNK. You do that again and you're the next one who gets comboed into oblivion! The game was pretty much the first real competition that Street Fighter II had in the arcades, debuting in the year of 1991. There might have been games between Street Fighter II and Fatal Fury. I personally don't know. I couldn't find any anyway. But if anyone could find some, feel free to let me know, because I'd be interested to know how they play. Fatal Fury was brimming with personality straight from the startup. A bright and colorful art palette, a cool story with fun characters. You can just tell that SNK struck gold with this series on the first go. And it's been on hiatus since 1999. So, who do I gotta beat up to fix that? The games were fun, but as I illustrated in my reviews, they were ball busters. These games did not play around and were monumentally difficult. SNK always gave their titles some fight to them, to both take your lunch money in the arcades, as well as give everyone who got good at the game bragging rights. Pro tip to any newcomers to fighting games: old school SNK games can, and will, kick the crap out of you from the words ready, fight. But we're not talking about the games this time, as hard and excellent as they may be, but rather that SNK had this habit of playing a friendly little game of one-ups with Capcom. It was mostly Capcom who did something and then SNK kind of did a copy of it, or at least tried fine-tuning it, especially when it comes to their series. We have Street Fighter II, we have Fatal Fury, we have Street Fighter Alpha, we have the much superior Real Bout series, and of course we have the movie. But before the movie, SNK actually got the drop on Capcom, because whereas it took Capcom a couple of years to get Street Fighter II to anime, SNK did it in 1992. So what are we waiting for? Let's dive on in. Let's burn knuckle. Let's throw some crack shoots. Let's beat people up. Yeah! So Fatal Fury had 2 OVAs and a full movie, but the first one is simply called Fatal Fury: Legend of the Hungry Wolf. It's basically an adaptation of the first game's story, albeit with some more narrative tweaks to make it more coherent. I mean, yeah, as fun as it would be to see Terry, Joe, and Andy just tearing through the guys in Fatal Fury 1 in one extended 45-minute fight scene, I can see why they opted to make it more coherent anyway. The OVA opens up with ninjas running into a dojo, doing some killing and stealing a scroll. That was almost hip-hop. We cut to a young Terry and Andy who, for some reason, has blue hair instead of blonde, palling around with Tung Fu Roo. You know, the Master Roshi guy from the first game, yeah! Bit of a sidetrack. And I can do it, because it's my video. Fight me. If you haven't played the newest King of Fighters game, King of Fighters 14, why haven't you? It's good, you should go play it. But I have no words for Tung Fu Roo's climax attack. What's it look like? Well, I got no other place to put it in. This is a joke, but here, take a look. No, this is not a paid advertisement. It's a genuinely good game. You should get it. So I have someone else to play with. So Terry and Andy's adoptive father, Jeff Bogard, is down at the park being a cool dude and trying to help out some orphan and poor kids, when all of a sudden he gets attacked by dudes in suits with knives. Oh no, what's he gonna do besides open up a can of whooping? Because even though he's surrounded and trying to protect the children, he still manages to dispatch the guys with one hit each, only suffering one stab wound. And that one wound, which was a lucky shot by the way, was all the opportunistic boss of these guys needed. In comes Geese Howard as Terry, Andy, and Tongue are unable to come to his rescue in time. Those kids just witnessed a brutal gang killing in broad daylight. Well, they're scarred for life.
Holy is this wrong?
Oh, and by the way, I just want to get this out of here. I love Geese Howard's voice actor in these movies. He has this deep voice that basically sounds like it came straight out of the games, and he sounds just as slimy and douchey.
At last, I finally own the secret records of the Hakyoku Seiken School. Their techniques surpass every one of the Japanese martial arts. Now no one will be able to stop me.
You just want to deck the guy in the face, but you know that if you did, he would kill you on the spot. From how he killed Jeff Bogard mixed in with his voice, it is the perfect combination to make you want to root for Terry and Andy to get their revenge. Tung Fu Roo instructs Terry and Andy to travel the world and hone their skills as fighters. He will choose one of them to learn the secrets of the Hakyoku Seiken after 10 years of practice. Yeah, you know, I could teach you kids how to fight myself, and I could teach you both the technique at the same time, and thus have you guys double team on Geese and undoubtedly defeat him with relative ease, of course. But, you know, I can't bother to do that because I'm an old man and I had a really large life insurance policy taken out on your father in case he dies, so you know what that means? It's party time! Party time! Party time! There's an actual reason he doesn't teach both of them, it's just a joke, lighten up. But 10 years later in Southtown, Geese is organizing the next King of Fighters tournament while an adult Terry is downstairs in the bar. The green-haired orphan girl from the beginning is Lily McGuire, and she comes downstairs with a rose and says that whoever catches it gets to have a night on the town with her. Naturally, in the scuffle, it's none other than our boy, Terry Bogard, who catches it. My girlfriend has a mad crush on Terry Bogard, and this is the scene that caused it.
Nice flower, miss, but next time I'd prefer one without the thorns.
Such a gentleman.
You know, I ain't even gay. But the dude's charming. And he's got even me swooning. Fight. And fight they do because a bar brawl starts. And of course Terry brings the pain like a baller. Terry's just having a grand old time beating up everyone. But when one of the bar patrons gets woken up abruptly, Terry and the new guy have a manly standoff. Before it gets interrupted by the cops anyway. It turns out the new guy is none other than Joe, why am I here, Higashi, showing up just because he was taking a nap at a bar. Who does that besides a drunk? Or Joe Higashi, apparently. I swear I don't plan this stuff. Joe really does just kinda exist in the Fatal Fury and KOF universe. He's tough as hell and a really good fighter, but story-wise, I really don't know why he's in either universe except just to hang out with Terry and Andy. You heard it here, folks. Joe Higashi is an enigma. Naturally, Terry and Joe hit it off because both are going to sign up for the King of Fighters tournament when Andy shows up in Southtown. Still sporting blue hair. Seriously, Andy. What happened? Why is your hair blue? Is he Andy Blueguard now? Yeah, I really have no idea why his hair is blue. I mean, maybe he's going through a Tumblr phase. The next day, Terry runs into Lily in the back streets, and they get to know each other a little better. She is obviously taken with him, and you can tell that Terry's into her too. Terry and Lily have some decent chemistry together, but I'll be honest, I don't really get her relationship to Geese. I mean, I had to look it up. She was adopted by Geese and forced to work with him. Why? Why did Geese adopt her? I mean, she's known as the Queen of Southtown, and since she's a very attractive lady, that could have some very interesting connotations if you think about it. Especially since Geese adopted her when she was a child. Hey, before you jump to conclusions and assume that I'm saying anything, okay? I'm just going to assume that Geese wanted a cheap maid because SNK doesn't do weird stuff like that. Nah, instead they do weird stuff like this. Because SNK is awesome! I mean, I guess it doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things because her relationship to Geese is pretty superfluous. It just serves as a way to get the plot moving forward. Anyway, Terry meets up with Andy and Master Tongue again, and now that the whole crew is here, they enter the King of Fighters tournament and ready to kick some ass! Oh, and let's talk attention to detail for a moment, and why this movie is great at it. Save for blue-haired Andy at the beginning, we have Raiden, the wrestler dude from the beginning, beating Michael Max in the first round. Then Joe beats up Duck King, and Andy beats Hua Chai. All of those guys, as minor as their appearance was, were characters in the first game. Sure, there are a couple of unnamed guys in the tournament, but they get beaten via montage. Any dedicated animation always goes to characters from the game, which is a great decision since it gives people who play the game a chance to recognize a character that they liked, even if they lose a fight in a one-sided beatdown. After Geese instructs Lily to poison Terry, she has a massive change of heart and puts a little lip lock on our hero before his fight with yet another character from the first Fatal Fury game, Richard Meyer. And this is another great example of attention to detail, because if you look on the Jumbotron, their versus screen is just a silhouetted version of their sprites from the game. Terry handily defeats Richard Meyer, even after getting knocked down and catching his hat before hopping back up with a smile on his face.
Why you?
It's the rising tackle!
Man, Terry's a fun character, and geez, is this just a fun movie. It just has so much personality. Terry, Joe, and Andy tear through the tournament while Raiden and Billy Kane rise through the ranks as well. We get to the quarterfinals where it's Terry versus Andy, and just as their fight is about to begin, a sniper takes aim. Joe leaps in to save the day when Lily cuts the lights to save her lover. They manage to get away even with Joe injured, but sadly Lily is cornered by Geese.
This is the end. Die!
Lily! Lily! Geese, I'll get you for this!
Oh, it's on. You see, you have no idea just how on it is right now. It is so on, it is off the scales. Except it's not off the scales, because to be off the scales would be off to some level, and it is not off. It is on! The Fatal Fury crew are surrounded when in comes Master Tongue with a jeep to save the day. I mean, personally, if I were Master Tongue, I just would have hulked out and tossed laser beams everywhere. Or at the very least done this. I'm just saying, okay? Just saying. A jeep is a little bit less intimidating than that. They make their escape, but not without casualties. Lily dies, and Billy Kane gets a shot off on Tongue's ribs, mortally wounding him. While they're at the hospital, Andy and Joe make a beeline straight for Geese's tower, while a wounded Master Tongue teaches Terry the ultimate technique of the Hakyoku Seiken, the Senpuken, which is this awesome tornado attack. And I'm so bummed that Terry has never actually had that move in the games. Seriously, that could be a really good callback. But Master Tongue exerted all of his strength demonstrating the move just once to Terry, and he dies standing on his feet. Dang it, and that means we will never get a chance to see him Hulk out in the anime. But you can in King of Fighters 14! Why aren't you playing it yet? The next day, Andy and Joe make it to the island first and open up all kinds of cans of whoop-ass on Geese's guards when they're attacked by Billy and Raiden. All while Geese is feeding his koi fish. Really, Geese? Koi fish? Pfft. I don't know what you're laughing at me for. I always thought he'd be a goose man. Well, I guess that this is a good a time as any. Okay, so last year I made an error regarding Billy. In my Fatal Fury 3 video, I mistook him for being an Australian instead of English. And before you get too mad at me, in my defense, most of what I knew about Billy came from these movies. And, well, he sounds like this.
We're a little tougher than those, small fry. And now is the perfect time to pay you back for wrecking the tournament.
Now that probably sounds English to a lot of you, but to me, it sounds like he wants to throw some shrimp on the barbie before he stops a dingo from eating his baby. I mean, yeah, I messed up, but, you know, little mistakes happen, but,
You also mispronounced his name.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, it's spelled K-A-N-E.
Well, yeah, but it's meant to be pronounced like Khan, you know, like the actor James Khan. I mean, that's how it's pronounced
Yeah, but in Japanese they don't have the letter L. You know, otherwise his name would be Beery.
What's your point?
Well, SNK aren't exactly known for their stellar translations and proper English vernacular. Plus, I always thought it was a pun, you know, like His name is Kane, and he uses a stick. It's like a walking cane.
You're still wrong.
I didn't hit you hard enough, did I?
I'll shut up now.
So after a pretty good fight between Andy, Joe, Billy, and Raiden, Andy and Joe head straight for Geese Howard, who promptly wipes the floor with both of them with one blast of his Reppuken. Hey, before you knock them for getting beat by one move, actually play the game. Those Reppukens are no joke. I swear those things give me Vietnam flashbacks. Cheap bastard. Terry arrives on the scene in the nick of time, and you know, I'll be honest, the ending is a bit on the anticlimactic side. It really just amounts to Geese and Terry having a standoff before Terry unleashes the Senpuken.
Standing. Wait. Not standing. It's the Hakyoku Seiken.
Final technique, Senpuken!
Twice, because the first time doesn't work very well. Well, you could always get him into an AI bug where you just keep crouch punching him into the background. Worked for me. A perfect KO is a perfect KO. Fight me on it. So with all that said and done, Terry, Joe, and Andy all go their separate ways to continue training in classic action movie freeze frame. And it is gloriously cheesy. I'm a sucker for those kind of things. Okay, the first time I saw this movie, I'll admit it, I was a bit underwhelmed by it because I wanted more action. But upon repeated views, I gotta say that this is one of the finest video game to anime adaptations of all time. It pays homage to the game it's based on, tells a good story, has solid action, and good animation. Hell, even the voice acting is pretty damn good. I remember thinking Andy's voice actor was bad the first time around, but overall I think he's pretty solid. But easily, the best performances is a toss-up between Mark Hildreth's Terry Bogard and Ward Perry's Geese Howard. Ward again delivers the perfect voice for one of fighting game's biggest bastards, and Mark Hildreth really brings out the charm and cool factor in Terry. So yeah, a few flaws here and there, but overall this movie's pretty great. I'd highly recommend it, and if you can believe me, it actually gets a lot better because I personally consider Legend of the Hungry Wolf to be the weakest out of the Fatal Fury OVAs. And there are two more. Fatal Fury 2, the new battle, has artist Masami Obari assuming the director's chair, and he took what was a solid anime and made it into a great one. You see, one major critique that I have with Legend of the Hungry Wolf is that its fight scenes are still too short and far between. New Battle has a few major fight scenes, but when they come in, they're not just animated better, but they're also way more action-packed. This is just my personal taste here, and this is just what I noticed, but I really like how Masami will frequently have the characters when they engage in a fight scene. It's very obviously that these two are masters of their craft, you know? You'll see a long string of counters and attacks. It's not like one character blocks a punch and then counters with a super attack or a big uppercut and they have the upper hand. It's not like a trade-off of one-sided beatdowns. It's like a long block string between two equal opponents. It's a feast for the animator's eyes, okay? It's wonderful. If you love attention to detail, especially in fight scenes, seriously, watch how Fatal Fury the New Battle does it. However, as good as the New Battle is, and I, again, would really heavily recommend watching it, I recommend watching it more than I would Legend of the Hungry Wolf. I just recommend watching Hungry Wolf just for context in the sequel, okay? But my personal favorite is easily the third one in the series, simply called Fatal Fury, the Motion Picture. It took everything great about the New Battle and cranked it up to 11. More fight scenes, more story, more characterization, and on top of that, it wasn't based on a video game, so Obari had more creative freedom just to make something fun to watch. And it's so much fun. Oh, I love this movie. I love this movie so much. I don't even care for being creepy right now, I just love it. Yeah, Pikachu's back there. He's a little weirded out right now. But I don't care what you think, Pikachu! The reason I'm not giving those two movies a full review is simply because I don't want to spoil them for you. I sincerely want you to watch them. They are just so good. I mean, they're fantastic. How could you just not go and see it after all this praise I'm giving them?
Okay, hold on a minute, right there.
Hi! Who are you?
What? Who am I? Who am I? I am Reaper Zero!
How do you have an intro?
Well, that doesn't matter. What it does matter is...
Hey, what's the Reaper Zero?
What? I am hardcore and everything badass about nerd culture!
You're just edgy for the sake of being edgy, aren't you?
Well, I don't even know what that means, and I get my inspiration from the greatest character of all time!
I was like, let me guess, Reaper from Overwatch?
No, Shadow the Hedgehog. What's Overwatch?
Nothing, forget you saw this. But, what does a Reaper have to do with a hedgehog?
Well, it just seemed like the most natural transition.
What?
Irrelevant! That's okay, it was your copy. What does matter is nobody wants to watch a boring positive show.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. I think people like to see something positive and someone positive talking about something they like instead of something they hate all the time and,
No! That is dull! You're a dull reviewer! You gotta review something that you hate! Something you've been teasing on your show for a long time!
Fight Fever?
Yeah! Wait, what? No! No, not that!
Ooh, Shaq Foodports!
Oh, come on! You mentioned that like once years ago! You're never gonna do it!
Yeah, probably not. But why am I still talking to you, and why are you still in my house?
Because you need to review Art of Fighting!
What?
I said, you need to review Art of Fighting!
Shh! You're gonna wake it!
I said review Art of Fighting because you said you were gonna review Art of Fighting, and you never did review.
I have risen.
Oh, would you look at that?
Ah!